We are very privileged to have the presence of Mr. Suresh Prabhu here with us today, and he will be delivering the valedictory address. We were very fortunate to have Mr. Suresh Prabhu be our chief guest at our last convention, and we couldn't have even thought of having this without him here. He was very encouraging and very supportive to the chamber, and along with him we had put up some plans for what we as a chamber could do along with the Government of India in a proposal for deeper engagement between India and Canada. And today we have him here and we are extremely pleased. Thank you, Mr. Prabhu, for coming here. May I ask Mr. Andrew Smith, Minister Commercial in the High Commission of Canada, to please come and introduce Mr. Suresh Prabhu.
Thank you, Nadara. I'm delighted to have the honor to introduce Mr. Prabhu to today's ICBC annual convention. I arrived in India 18 months ago, and the first minister for the Government of India I met was Mr. Prabhu. And since then, he has consistently made the time for Canada when called upon. And I suspect his fondness for Canada has something to do that he is a Canadian education alumni, having studied at Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo, Ontario. Suresh Prabhu first entered the nation's service nearly 30 years ago as a member of Parliament. And today, he is one of India's most experienced and diversified leaders. He has held 7 separate different ministerial portfolios, and his career has culminated in today, where he was appointed Prime Minister Modi's personal representative to the G20. He is India's G20 Sherpa. And it was during his last role as Minister of Commerce and Industry that he developed a very close friendship with Canada's Minister of International Trade, François-Philippe Champagne. And it's a friendship he maintains today. In fact, during a recent visit to Canada, he made time to make a phone call with Mr. Champagne while he was back in Canada. And Minister Champagne, when I told him I was introducing Suresh Prabhu, told me to remind Minister Prabhu that Minister Champagne was the first minister he met when he became Minister of Commerce. As Minister of Commerce, it's likely where most Canadians and Canadian businesses know him best, for it was during this period that he led the Ministry of Commerce and Industry to break through the top 100 rankings of the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report. It was a jump that year of 30 rankings. As Minister of Civil Aviation, he led on the implementation of UDAN, which was the regional connectivity scheme to make flying affordable and easy for the average Indian citizen. And it's been effective. Today, more Indians fly than take air-conditioned trains. And Canada has benefited from this policy. You see today that SpiceJet is one of India's users of the Q400, and they're one of the world's largest operators of the Toronto manufactured airplane. So I'm thrilled to introduce to you Suresh Prabhu, and I'd like to welcome him to the stage to give us his vision of India and moving into the G20, as India will host the G20 in 2022. Please welcome Suresh Prabhu.
Good evening, friends. These are the 2 great countries, India and Canada, divided by oceans and long distance, but have a possibility of working together because they have huge complementarities. The size of Canada is probably 3 times bigger than India. The population is very small in Canada, very large in India. Natural resources in Canada in abundance, and India always going to need those resources for many, many decades to come. Canada is developed into a very high technology economy, high technology society, and India could collaborate on using those technologies in India. Canada, and my friend Anita George is here, Canada has huge savings manifested into pension funds, but in many other forms. India is going to need investment into Indian economy for many years to come. Canada's expertise of development of infrastructure, and India is in the process of developing infrastructure. Canada produces products which normally we don't produce, not all of them we produce in India, including some high technology products. Canada has been India's partner in many areas, energy, whether it is hydroelectricity, whether it is nuclear energy, whether it is thermal energy, now renewable. So all forms of energy, India is a partner. India imports, and sometimes we don't import, so Andrews has a complaint about it. Whether it is our dal which we use, and sometimes we don't import, but we have been having relationship even in agriculture front. So I don't see any other possibility than but to collaborate. And when to want to collaborate, we need platforms and we need institutions. So this right institution is Indo-Canadian Business Chamber with a good leadership. I think when women drive it, it becomes better. So she is doing a great job. I am very happy that she is driving it. And I can see this platform laying the foundation for a future relationship between India and Canada. So politically, we have a good relationship. There are people of Indian origin always there in the cabinet, and this time I think we will form an alliance with some of them. So that is always there. But political relationship remains a bedrock. But if it is not supported by a sound economic relationship, it is not very long-term sustainable. And business has to drive that economic part of the relationship. And therefore, it is one chamber which meets regularly, interacts with all the policy makers in India, and also engages very extensively with business on either side. And therefore, I can see this platform becoming a very important driver for this relationship in future. I am very happy that one of the great statesmen, politician of our times, the former Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Stephen Harper, is here, and I think he spoke here yesterday, this morning. Yeah. Okay. And therefore, he is the one who is visionary, and he has the ability to frame public policy in a very effective manner. And therefore, it's our duty, a bounden responsibility, to make sure that we take this relationship to its logical conclusion. Despite the fact that my dear friend Andrews, who is driving the commercial part from the Government of Canada side, keeps telling me that numbers are good, but I don't think I am happy with the numbers because the potential is so huge. And to do that, he or the Commerce Ministry, which I was responsible for, can do a job up to a level. But business actually has to really take it over. And I know some of your, I can not pronounce that name properly because I'm not good in this, but his province, Saskatchewan, has so much of natural resources, is unbelievable. British Columbia has a huge potential in education, healthcare, and many other areas. Your other province, Calgary, has huge potential for energy. Of course, very well known, Toronto is the capital, and then, of course, Montreal is the capital of these other two provinces where we have another great potential. I've been to all these parts of the country. And therefore, as late as a few months ago, And I can clearly see that Ontario can also be, now it's well known and this is like a commercial capital of Canada. We can really develop it in a big way. I'm supposed to be going there in February for an event in Ottawa where Mr. Harper has invited me. And I really look forward to forging even closer relationship. Though I was on a private visit to Canada when I went there a few months ago with my family, I met in half a day, even my High Commissioner, Mr. Swarup, was a dear friend of mine, was telling me that I never seen somebody getting engaged with so many programs, even despite the fact that I was traveling on my own. Only because I feel that we must do everything possible to make this relationship better and stronger. So I really look forward to doing that. I've been mooting many of these ideas which are now coming to fruition, including pension funds and many others. And I can still feel that we must have a regular ongoing dialogue. So if you feel in month of February when I'll be going, we can have some round table with some of these different stakeholders, maybe funds separately, technology companies separately, infrastructure companies separately, so that we can invite them and facilitate their investments into India in a manner that will benefit both the countries. We should never see only India benefiting. Canada must also at the same time benefit. Then only it becomes sustainable. And therefore, we really look forward to doing that. Any help you need from me, I will be very happy to do that in any capacity that is necessary, because I strongly feel that we must take this relationship to a new level. So I really wish to congratulate you once again. Thank you for inviting me. I have to go to the Parliament and vote. So therefore, I must leave a little early. But I can definitely guarantee you that I am very bullish on this relationship. And when the world is now becoming more protectionist, I think I had organized 2 roundtables in India. One was in March 2018, and another one was in April 2019, only to make sure that we kickstart the process of opening up the world and divide or diminishing these possibilities of protectionism. And whatever walls may be created, we must find out a window within the wall to move on. So really, we really look forward to doing that. All the best to you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Honorable Suresh Prabhu. Ottawa in February. If we were not sure about your commitment to this relationship, we are certain now when you said you will be in Ottawa in February. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you even more for your encouraging words, and thank you for all your support on an ongoing basis. With that, as we bring this wonderful day session to a close, I want to very quickly acknowledge all the time that the participants have spent here today. This has been a wonderful dialogue, and hopefully it has been very useful for everybody. Also want to take the time to thank all our sponsors who have made today's day possible. But most importantly, the vote of thanks is also about our Secretariat, Nadira. Before you leave, this has been a wonderful magnum opus of a convention, and the credit to all of that goes to the team led by Nadira. Nadira, we want you to stand up and take a look. And also the entire team, please stand up. I see Ollie there, Pallavi, there's Rashmi at the back, and Shavik, Dev, everybody. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.